Fuck, I did it again. Okay, give it a second. Let somebody get in here. Okay, I got at least one person in here. So anyhow, I figured I would pop up today after watching our big show yesterday. Yep, the big show. That's what I call that, the big show. Because in reality, that's all it is. It's a big show. It's Hollywood in your face all over again. And unfortunately, what I got to see was what I don't like seeing. It wasn't because people were coming together. It's the fact that they've drunk their Kool-Aid and they're falling for the illusion, and they don't understand. People really, truly don't understand what's going on. There are people. I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to be, like I'm some know-it-all or anything, but I do understand what's going on in society. I've understood it for quite a while, for quite some time now. And I've been trying to tell people for a long time. So you're witnessing what happened yesterday. And the reason what happened yesterday is because people don't understand what's going on. Okay? So I'm going to give you a little rant, but not rant, a little something to try to help you maybe understand. You see, the picture you're looking at says human farm. Well, that's because that's where we all live. We live in a farm. Oh no, I'm not talking about out in the country on a farm that raises cattle, because you are the cattle. That's right, you're the cattle, you're the pigs, you're the sheep. But you live inside a human farm we call cities and towns. That's a human farm. That's why that picture's here. And that's why all these people went over there yesterday, and they involved themselves in the show without knowing they were involved themselves in the show. They think they're fighting for something they haven't had because they've allowed it to go out the door, because nobody does nothing about nothing. And there is no good guy and bad guy when it comes to your government. Governments worldwide, no, they don't care about your health. They don't care about you. Okay? They never have and never will. Because you never stood up for yourself, and we the people, we've sat back worldwide, and we've been manipulated, lied to our entire lives. All of us have. From your school system, from your television set, to the books you read, magazines you're looking at. 90% of everything anybody in this world's ever learned has been a lie. A complete lie. And you don't understand what you seen took place yesterday because most people just ain't awake enough to understand what they watched. What you're watching is the end of America. That's what you're watching. But then it's been foretold already for many years now, even in the script called your Bible. You know that script they wrote for you, that the United States of America would fall. See, the United States of America and Great Rome, we have some things in common. Okay, we really do. We are repeating history again, and this is Great Rome. You just didn't know you're living in Great Rome, that's all. Because they're doing it again. And right in your face. Pay attention to what's happened all of 2020 up to now. And this year is going to be a whole lot worse. You think last year was bad for you? You ain't seen nothing yet. You just haven't seen nothing yet. That's what that comes down to. The reality of the fact is, to be a cop a highway patrolman, a sheriff's department, or anything like that, you first had to go through law school, police academy, so on, right? Then if you go to apply for a job in law enforcement, this has been going on for a long time. If you're somebody that recognizes human rights and recognizes right from wrong, they won't hire you. No, they won't. They're looking for people who have a bully mentality and are great order followers, who won't question their orders. This is what law enforcement around the world globally has been doing for a long time now. Politicians, I'm going to tell you something. I had a couple of neighbors, this has probably been about 20 years ago, and my son's mother and I used to go over there to the neighbor's house. They'd call him up on the phone, even though they're right next door, and say, "Hey, neighbor, you want to come over and play a game of shit on the neighbor?" Well, shit on the neighbor was Uno or Skipple. And we would go over there and we would play these cards. And his wife, Helena, and Jack, that was my neighbors. Helena would always be my partner, and Jack would always be Pam's partner, my son's mother, okay? And we would play against each other. We'd sit around shooting the shit, drinking coffee, and playing cards. That's what we done. Well, Jack and Helena were a good couple. I liked them a lot. They were elderly to me at the time, and they were telling me about a good friend they grew up with. Jack and Elena, known each other for years. And this guy, well, he got elected into a position locally and he was just fine. Then he got elected into a different position where now he was going to Washington. And he took a seat in Congress. They didn't see him for about 6 years after that. Then he came back in the area, was visiting, and they got to see him, and he had completely changed. They didn't even recognize him anymore from his behaviors, from the way he was acting. Okay? And I remember them specifically telling me this. And I do know this. If you run for an elected position and you get one and you actually have care about what's right and wrong, you won't last. They will make sure to take you out of that position. Because like law enforcement, all of your politicians need to be great order followers. That includes your so-called president. You know, the actor called Donald Trump? The actor. You know, the criminal actor Donald Trump, who was a slumlord in New York? Yeah. You know, the guy that is bloodline family with Hillary Clinton? Yeah. No lie. If you did your homework, you'd know this, okay? But the reality is, if you get a politician position up in the Pentagon, or or up not the Pentagon, that's your military, but in the Senate, whatever, up in the White House, maybe you're up there freaking in the Senate, whatever. Okay, you are going to follow your orders, or you will not be there no more. That's how that works. Just like law enforcement, they've spent decade after decade after decade after decade getting every government on board with this same plan worldwide. This is why, don't matter how much people protest, nothing changes. This is why every time you get a new leader, the plan goes on and nothing changes. See, the key isn't to go protest, because think about it this way. You got to get permission to protest. That's right. But I thought you said you were in the land of the free. But you got to have permission to protest? Oh, yes, you do. You get yourself 500 people together and go do a protest without getting your permission slip, and you'll have law enforcement and even National Guard running you out of there. They'll say it's an illegal gathering. It's an illegal protest. Heck, we even got free speech zones. You're not allowed to talk in this area or that area because it's free speech. Well, this stuff's been going on for like many years. Okay? And people just don't understand it. They think they understand it, but they don't. Everything from the 13 families from your monetary system that's keeping you enslaved, right down to what you saw happen yesterday, has already happened in history. You are watching the death of America. That's what you're witnessing. Oh, you may not think so, but you're about to find out that I'm not bullshitting you. I'm not lying to you. If you want lies, all you got to do is pay attention to yesterday. Anybody that paid attention to anything yesterday at all would have watched the protesters walk right by the police and right into the Capitol. Literally, live, right in your face. Then the day that footage disappeared. How convenient for that footage to disappear. As your mainstream liars come up and tell you that we broke into the White House. Yeah, we broke in somehow. Yeah, they broke in by walking right by them. It was all planned. Everything that happened yesterday was planned. Told you before, Trump's not a good guy. Okay, maybe he is a good guy down right off of Child's Play. You know, he's little Chucky's running around with a knife in his hand. That's about as good as Trump is. Yep. That's about as good as Biden is. They don't run nothing. They never have. If they get in the position, they don't run nothing. They follow the orders. Remember, we got to have good order followers. Because the only way to keep you believing you're free is to keep you happy and in illusion. To keep you living the mirage, the illusion. That's not even reality. And you know, we the people of this world have the power, but you don't want it. You gave it away. You need somebody to hold your hand through life. Because you couldn't make it through life if somebody wasn't holding your hand, right? That's what that comes down to. You're not free. America is not the home of the free and the land of the brave. It's the home of the enslaved and the land of the cowards. You are look at all them people that fell for the lie. Yep. Well, you say, look at all them people. There'd be 1 million plus there yesterday. Yep. Look at all them people that fell for the lie, that have the illusion, the mirage, the hologram engraved into their brain. That's not the way you're going to beat these people. You can't beat them that way. That's the way you're going to lose your country. That's the way a lot of people are going to die. You know, Trump offered you to come there and you followed him. You went right and did right what he wanted, didn't you? You run right on down there, didn't we? That's right. The smart people that were awake didn't do that. I wouldn't have put myself in that situation because I understand what I'm looking at. I understand what's going on, and I understand how they got us where we're at today. First off, by selling you a lie, and you bought it, hook, line, and sinker. You had no way of knowing different because everything you learned in your life pretty much was a lie. So therefore, you really had no way of knowing different. But anybody that looks into anything and anybody that uses critical thinking skills and anybody that has any kind of memory, which ain't too many people that can remember anything past 5 minutes anymore, would know what I'm talking about. Because what I'm talking about is the absolute truth. Government, okay, are corrupt actors. That's all they are. They're Hollywood actors. Yep, Mr. Trump, Mr. Bush, Mr. Clinton, Ronald Reagan, he was already an actor in real life in Hollywood, and he was an actor up there in the White House. He sure was. They're all actors. Carry on scripts. All plans are made behind the scenes that you know nothing about. What happened yesterday was planned to happen. It was no accident. The doors of the White House was left open for them. Think about it this way. When Trump first started speaking, he wasn't even at the White House. When Trump gave his speech, he was not at the White House. You could see the White House in the background. Then suddenly we got all these protesters on the White House lawn, which means the gates had to have been left open, which means they left the grounds open to the public that's never open to the public. They even left the doors open for you, didn't they? They sure did. Wait, you think that was an accident? You think they barged the White House? No, they didn't. Nope, not at all. Military, well, you're useful idiots. That's what you are. You're pawns for their own gain. That's what military's about, is being a pawn. Being a sucker. Why do you think they focus on the kids getting out of high school? To recruit them. So that you can brainwash them some more. See, this is all about control. This is not about your health. This is not about your freedom, because your freedom has always been an illusion. If you want your freedom, you got to stop complying. See, what should have happened is everybody should have stood down and nobody should have showed up at all. Oh, what have you put a wrench in their freaking plans? If you wanted to throw a wrench into the gears, nobody should have showed up in Washington yesterday. Then you would have thrown a wrench in their gears. But you didn't do that. No. We drunk our Kool-Aid, we went along with the script, and we showed up down there. In massive numbers. And they set you up. That's what they done. They set you up. See, we're only looking at months now. You're not even looking at years. You're looking at months, not years. And a lot of nasty stuff's about getting ready to happen. Lots of people are fixing to be coded, taken out, not to lunch neither. All over the world. Not just in the United States, but the United States is the Great Rome. We are Great Rome. We are repeating Great Rome. We're doing the very same things that happened in Great Rome before Great Rome fell. Where do you think the United States is going? Down. You won't have no freedom no more. You won't even be allowed to own anything. Because you gave up your right to be free. You gave up your right to owning materialistic items. You gave it all up. And you don't even know you did. The majority of people don't even know they did. They actually went there believing they were fighting for something. And the only way to fight back is through stopping the division and standing together. We, the people of the planet Earth, are the ones that hold the power. The only reason you don't know you hold the power is because you keep giving it away. You keep giving your power to a handful of psychopaths. Then you wonder why this stuff happens to you. You know? And it absolutely just disgusts me. It really does. Because the reality of what's going on in this world is the fact 90% of everything you ever learned in your life has been a lie. Your education system taught you a little trickle, a little microspect of knowledge. The rest of the knowledge has been withheld from you. You're not allowed to know it. And if you figure out what's going on, then, well, you might have some shit that's happened to me in the past happen to you. They'll shut you up. They'll suppress you down. I didn't accidentally lose 3, 4 channels on YouTube and hundreds of videos. I lost them from telling truth. Because in today's world, people don't want to hear truth. They want to be lied to. So you're going to get what you got coming to you then. You sure are. We don't have years left, we have months left. Agenda 21, 2030, 2050 is real. You don't have to 2050. By 2050, they want everything in place and everything completely done. That means population reduced. That means living zones, sections, sectors created. All borders abolished. Every single thing that you have, you no longer own. You're not allowed to own nothing no more, people. You've been fooling yourself for years into believing you owned your house. If you went and bought a house, you said, well, I spent 30 years paying off that house. And when you look at the deed, it says tenant. Because you never owned it. You paid it off for the privilege of staying in it until they decide they don't want you no more. Why are you paying taxes on something you already paid off? Oh, well, because property taxes goes back into the infrastructure. That's what keeps our roads and our cities and our city fixed. That's what keeps our infrastructure fixed. Really? So is that why you find cities asking for grants and money from the government to fix their roads? Is that why we need to get grants from the government or loans from bankers to fix a school? To build a school? Nope, because your money never went back into the infrastructure. Never has and never will. It was just another big fat lie like the rest. Like I said, just about everything you've ever learned has been a lie. And there's nothing I can do other than tell you the truth. I can't make you listen. I can't make you go look into anything. You have to want to look, and you have to be able to use your brain and use critical thinking skills. And you have to examine what's going on around you. You know, when Mark Passio screamed at you that government is enslavement, he was not lying to you. He told you the God's honest truth. You know, I understand you're going to say, well, he's a shill. I just call them employees of the establishment. You know, like Mark Passio, David Icke, Alan Watts, and so on. Employees of the establishment who are being given the knowledge to tell you by the 13 families. They always said they were going to tell us what they were going to do, and then they're going to do it. We're going to do nothing about it. And they always have told us what they're going to do. They even make it so they've made it for a long time now, to where you could go on legit sites like NASA and, and Homeland Security, FEMA, and you could go on government websites and you can pull up the laws, legislation that's being made. You can pull up their plans right off the United Nations because they made it public. You think they're joking. No, they're not. They never have been. Yesterday, they made a fool out of America. They showed the rest of the world that the Americans are stupid. And they did a good job of it, too. Oh, yes, they did. They did a great job of it. I'll give it to them on that, man, because they really pulled the wool over your eyes. That's exactly what took place. They pulled the wool right over your eyes. You know, and the reality is they're getting ready to do a lot of nasty stuff. And they're not going to stop because you're not going to stop them. You haven't now. I'm listening to people talking about their Second Amendment. I'm listening to people say that's why we have a Second Amendment, because we need at time we may have to defend ourselves against a rogue government, a government that's gone bad. Well, to you American people with arms, why didn't that happen 20 years ago? What happened to you rising up against them 20 years ago? Oh, that's right. Well, I wouldn't want to go to my government. I might get shot. There's your answer. Yep, that's right. Oh, well, I might not fit in. Oh, no. I might not fit in. I got to think like the rest of them think. Because if I don't think like my TV told me so, you know, I was thinking about that song, you know, that we used to sing if you were in Sunday school and you were a child and you went to Sunday school and you went to church and you were singing, Yes, Jesus Loves Me. You know, I was seriously thinking about that song. Yep. Yes, Jesus loves me. Okay. But I turned the words around on it. Yep. I sure did. I turned the words down. And I usually purposely turned them around. It ain't yes, Jesus loves me. No. It's yes, I love myself. Self-centered selfishness. That's right. Yes, I love my enslavement. Yep. Because my government told me so. See, people want to be slaves. You got to have somebody's hand to hold to get you through life because you failed to grow up. Yep. Oh, that's right. And then brave. Oh, brave. There ain't no country on the face of this earth that has bravery in them. We have brainwashed people right out of high school, turned against you, called military. Well, but they're to defend us, Bill. That's why we have military. To defend you against what? Your inability to grow up? You don't need a military. Why would you need a military? Well, to defend us. No, you need to go to hell up. You know, the cremation of care. Very successful program. See, it's all been social engineered, every last bit of it. Every last bit of it. I mean, that's the real truth right there. Every last bit of it. I mean, you know, the only thing I can tell you is they're getting ready to stick you with a needle. And a lot of people run right on down there and they'll get right on down there and stab me with that needle. Yep, they sure will. And I love how they play both sides of that too. They come up and they promote it and they tell you it's about your health and we need to save you. Because otherwise we're going to have to lock you down and quarantine healthy people. We're going to lie to you and tell you that, well, the reason you don't have no symptoms is because you're not sick. They're not going to tell you that part. No, they're not going to tell you that part. They wouldn't want you to figure out that you quarantine sick people, not healthy people. No, they want you to think it's so bad. It's so awful. It's about control. It's what it's always been about. Control. Control. Your enslavement. Because you're all slaves. You're not free. I don't even know why you think you're free. You ain't never been free. You have an hallucination. Have you ever looked at the British flag and then look at America's flag? Huh, do you see any semblance, anything that looks familiar to you? Yeah, you should go and look up the British flag. As a matter of fact, you should go look up flags around the world and see how many flags look familiar to you. That's what you should do. I'm going to exit that off. I'm not having that crap. Hold on a second while I do this. There you go. Took care of that problem. I hated to have to do that, but I don't want it interrupted. Okay, so, I'm in the live stream here, and they don't bother to look to see if I'm live or anything. They say, whoa, 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 talk to me now. No, that ain't happening. Sorry, I can't talk to you right now. Because I'm in the middle of this, and I'm not stopping this for that. It's just the ignorance of people, man. And you can't even get people, to look into anything anymore. They're too lazy, whatever. And, and I don't mind telling people stuff and showing people stuff. It's no different than the dating scene. I've told people the real truth for years now. But everybody wants to use the social engineering and say, this is how it is in today's world, Bill. And then cry and whine and complain over the misery of how now they're not able to get a woman, or they can't keep the woman, or the woman threw them away, and blah, 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 blah. And I've said it for all the years I've been up here that the people, I'm sorry, but you've been lied to so bad. Relationships are gone, man. They're over. Because you all followed the social engineering that was designed to destroy you. Nobody wanted to put the work into it. And of course, because we became all about the tool, all about selfishness, all about competition, that's what everything's been about. Oh, yeah, even on the job site, it's competition. The one that bends over the best is the one that, and don't argue, and follows orders, and bends over and drops to their knees, are the ones that get promotions to get more of the tool. And then you get the people who take positions and get up here and purposely lie to you so that they can have a better lifestyle. You get Trump up here telling you he's tired of the fake news, but if he was actually tired of the fake news, he would have done away with the Smith and Monkton's Act, which is what makes it legal for the media to lie to you. But see, remember, Trump's an actor. He has to follow his orders. And if he would have done away with that, he would have been in trouble by his owner. Because we need the lies. Because if we didn't have the lies, then you wouldn't believe the BS you believe. You might accidentally see some real truth. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. Yes, I know what you're talking about. I'm not saying the name because if I keep saying that name too much, they might just kick me off the stream. It's already bad enough they'll make me wait to put it up. But I'm used to that, I'm quite used to the censorship. I've been pushed down for a lot longer than most people. And I'm not lying about that. I can remember when Dabu 7 read a report here, I don't know, maybe it was about 4 years ago. At that time, 4 or 5 years ago, when he was, oh no, and he read this brand new article about censorship. And that YouTube's going to be doing this and this for censorship. And if they're upping the censorship, it's blah, 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 blah. And everything he read on that report for what they were going to be doing had already been happening to me for 6+ years. Easy. I laughed because he was making it look like this has never happened to nobody when he read it. and was like, oh no, this is going to be terrible. But in reality, it had already been happening to me for a good 6 years before that report came out. Everything he said hasn't happened yet. It's going to be happening. It already been happening to me. And that is what happens when you're telling truth and people don't want to hear the truth, and the people at the top don't want you telling that truth. I don't think they care as much anymore right now at this particular time, because of the fact is you're running out of time. You only have months. That's all you have is months. You're going to watch things over the course of this year. Yeah, like I said, you think 2020 was bad? You ain't seen nothing yet. If you keep complying, you keep following your orders and putting that diaper on your face, just keep doing it. Because you're going to find that you helped to crash your own country and lost your freedom. Most people in today's society worldwide, for the majority of people, you're also going to lose your life. You ain't just losing your freedom and the right to own anything, you're going to lose your life. Because they give you the big lie about global warming. They gave you the big lie about running out of resources. They told you that crude oil that's naturally produced by the earth, which is self-renewable, that we're running it out. And they called it fossil fuel. They tried to convince you that crude oil is from dead bones. Dinosaur bones and so on, BS. They tell you we're running out the resources, but they don't tell you about all the thousands of farms they shut down. They're not going to tell you about the food processing plants they burn to the ground. Yeah. They're going to tell you we're overpopulated, even though you could take the entire world's population and fit them in the state of Texas. No lie. Human beings eat up 1/4 of the planet, if not a 1/3. That's how much the planet's still empty. Between water and land. If we go to the land, oh no. You could take the entire world's population and put them in the state of Texas and have room left over. Don't believe me? I know what I'm talking about. Believe me, I do. We're not overpopulated. We're a long way from being overpopulated. This is about control. Because when you have psychopaths, because you gave your power away, because you needed to have somebody hold your hand, that's what that comes down to. You gave your power away. You need somebody to hold your hand. And I get a little bit like off the wall here sometimes because I watch these people that think. It's just like when Mr. Hoka used to make fun of me and mock me for talking about Rockefellers or Rothschilds. It's like when Hell by the Dashboard Light will tell you that the Rothschild family has nothing, they're broke. That they don't run nothing, they have nothing, they're broke. They don't have money. No, they just own the monetary system. They just own the money and print it anytime they want it. But see, people like Hell by the Dashboard Light, it's like so many people. They won't take the time to look into nothing. And they go through the truth buffet line. And when everything in the buffet line of truth has already been concretely proven to be 100% truth, 150% truth, it's just 100% all the way across the board truth. And most people that go through that truth buffet line, they're going to cherry pick out the only truth they want to believe. Because it's hard to believe in something over the lie. You want to believe the lie. You don't want to believe the truth. because it might hurt your little feelers. Or it might mean you might have to take some responsibility, some accountability. See, that's the problem. We never hold anybody accountable, do we? No. In the manosphere, you've complained about the women not being held accountable. But yet, when it comes to your owners, you don't hold them accountable to anything, do you? No, of course you don't. Because if they got a uniform on, you're scared of them. If they have a position in life, you're scared of them. You're shaking, you're shivering, you're scared shitless. That's the majority of people. And I hate to be that way. I really don't like being this way to people, but I'm telling you, I've been watching this stuff for so long now and studying this stuff and looking at it, and I don't got to do much looking no more because I understand what's going on. I really do. And every time I look, I get disgustedly sick at how dumb people become. That people are so complicit with their own demise, and they don't even know they are. And do you know that they moved in on the women? For the manosphere, this is going to be some nice, interesting stuff. But I'm going to tell you this right now. I always knew the elite, the globalists, our bar owners, when it came time that they were on top of time to coat and kill, when they were moving in for the kill, within 5 to 10 years from the time they actually move in for the main kill, that they would start attacking the women as they have done the men. And they would be attacking the women and the men at the same time. Where before it used to only be the men. You know, we had the war on women, which was really equals the war on men. And women were placed on pedestals. But anybody that pays attention to anything, I'm going to give you a good clue right in your face. Pay attention to the Karen videos that are all over the internet. Pay attention to the Karen videos when they don't want to put a diaper on their face and they're called a Karen. For not putting a diaper on their face, they're called a Karen. Pay attention to the Karen videos. Why am I telling you to pay attention to the Karen videos? What do you think that Karen name that's all over the place just came out of nowhere? No, it didn't. That came from the powers to be. Well, why would the powers to be? Because they don't care about women, nor do they care about you. The war is not country against country anymore. And even if the United States, the fraudulent pretend country called the United States, was to go to war with Iran or China, the governments ain't fighting each other. No, they're not. No. They're all in bed with each other. The real reason you're fighting each other is so that these same people can steal more resources so they can own the world, own the planet. And you're doing their dirty work. And it helps them with population reduction. Yes, sirree. Us governments can get along, be best friends like on WWE. And then when we're in front of the public, oh, we're fighting each other and we hate each other. And then you all fall for it. Then they can set up something and attack a country and say, this country did it to justify sending you and them to kill each other while it's your owners that have done this to you. But don't worry, we got to fight over the votes. Yeah, man, that was a fraudulent vote, man. Yeah, the left and the right, yeah, Republican and Democrat, man, the conservative, yeah. And we're going to go with that system, man, because that's our system, man. Yep, that's your system enslavement. That's your not looking into anything. that you believe in somehow you're some little special snowflake. Why do you think history always replays itself? Yeah, I guarantee you during World War II over Nazi Germany, because today I'm looking at Nazi America. I'm looking at Nazi Germany, I'm looking at Nazi America, I'm looking at Nazi United Kingdom, Nazi Russia, Nazi China, and on and on and on. And why do I say that? Look at the Karen videos and you'll get to see some real Nazis. Because most people don't understand what gave the name to Nazis, why we called them Nazis. We called the Nazis Nazis because they were great order followers. They didn't use logic, they didn't use common sense, and they definitely had no care. The only thing they cared about was the tool and themselves. The tool and themselves. Yeah, money. And you notice in the Karen videos, you got the person wearing a mask working in a grocery store or a restaurant. And they got that diaper on their face. And somebody that's awake walks through the door and knows that that thing don't protect you from nothing. And they know the truth. And they refuse to comply. And then the guy that's doing the video says, that's a Karen. Because they're not wearing it. That's not a Karen. The Karen would be the guy that produced the video that's doing the, this talking in between the videos. The guy that's narrating it. Yeah, that's the Karen. Because when he says, yup, that's a Karen, complaining about having to put a diaper on their face and breathe in CO2 and poison themselves. You should never complain about poisoning yourself. No, why would you do that? You're supposed to be willingly poisoning yourself. And why would you complain when the government's here for your health? You get on down there and let them stick that little prick in your arm. Because they care about you. Yeah, not. I just wish people could see it and understand that we, the people of the world, not just the United States, of the planet, we have to start standing down. Non-compliance in massive numbers. If they tell you you're on lockdown, you all come out of your homes. When the numbers are great, they can't enforce it. No, they can't. See, the power is literally in the people's hands, and most of the people in this world just gave it away. You gave it away because you comply, because you follow your orders. You gave it away because you think you need their money, their tools that they own. You think that money prints itself, I guess, you people like Steve Hoka cussing about me talking about Rockefellers and Rothschilds. For you people who think the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers ain't got no money, that they never, you people are the worst of the sleep. You're the reason where we're at right now. You followed your orders, and this is why this is all happening to you. This is all happening to everybody globally because you followed your orders. And because you wouldn't stand down. Because you'll fight each other. What do you think they created all the division for? Division in the workplace, division in the dating scene, division everywhere you go. Divide and conquer, division, fucking of the races, excuse my language. That's right. Looking at somebody else's skin color. Blaming them for your downfalls. Oh, well, Bill, you're white. You have white privilege. Yeah, I had the privilege of working my whole life for anything I wanted. I've had the privilege of being flat broke. I've had the privilege of being without food. I sure have. I've had all the privileges my white privilege gave me. It gave me the privilege of being unemployed. It gave me the privilege of breaking my butt to earn the tool to keep a roof over my head. It gave me the privilege of sometimes not having enough money for food. It gave me the same privileges that the black people are having. So I guess they have black privilege. And it gave the Mexicans the same privilege, so they got Mexican privilege, you know. Gave the Russians the same privilege, so they got Russian privilege. Do you follow what I'm telling you? That's what's going on. What happened yesterday was planned. It was orchestrated. Nobody broke into the Capitol. Ask yourself this: when Mr. Trump first talked to the public, the White House was in the background. He wasn't even at the White House. And then what? An hour or two later, you got all the protesters on the White House lawn. You got protesters going into the White House. I would say that was probably Antifa, disguised as Trump supporters. And they were already told that they could go in the White House. They were set up too. See, we have to create all these fractions. We're going to create Black Lives Matter. We're going to create Antifa. That's right. We're going to give you agents like Lou Podolsky of We Are Change. Yeah, employees of the establishment. For the tool, they would do anything, including help bring down America, help bring down every other country for a handful of psychopaths. And it's actually pretty freaking sickening and pathetic. The military sitting here following their orders, enforcing the tyranny. So if you're in the military, and I don't care what country you're in, and you're following orders, you're enforcing tyranny and you are a terrorist. No, you're not a grown up because you went in the military. You're a terrorist. You're a sucker, a pawn. The only thing you're going to get out of it is maybe a missing limb or your death. Or if you get out in one piece, you could get the privilege like all the vets did and find that you have to fight for your benefits. Of course, unless you was a somebody in the military, then you could move up into the Pentagon and you could have your life handed to you and you could manipulate and lie to the world like Roy Potter. Yeah, I did say that name from YouTube, Roy Potter. Yeah, I did. And I didn't slip up when I said the name. He's not on your side. He's putting on an act. Well, that part would be true. He is just as criminal as Bill Gates and Anthony Fauci and Mr. Biden and Bill Clinton and the Bush family. Should I go on? And on and on and on. It's pretty sad because we got billions of people alive and we maybe have 4,000 people in all that are pulling the strings. Yeah. And that's if we're lucky. We might have 4,000 people pulling the strings for the 13 families. And amongst the 4,000 people, of course, is the 13 families. I mean, I'm sorry to tell you this and break your little hearts and your little feelers, but your time's running out. Now's not time to be worried about putting your penis in a hole. Now's not the time to be worried about getting a date in your life because first you're going to be alive to have a date. Relationships are built. Dating was always supposed to be about seeing to get to know each other to see if you were compatible. Well, we don't got time for that, Bill. It's all about putting our penis in a hole, Bill. And for the woman, the same thing. It's all about usury. Then you wonder why you're in the shape you're in. You're in the shape you're in because you won't leave the social engineering alone. You're not willing to use your brain. You're not willing to think. You're not willing to examine. You're not willing to use any kind of critical thinking skills. And I can't say you're going to use common sense because common sense is somewhere where the dinosaur bones are at. Because the majority of people don't have any common sense. Yesterday was proof of that. Oh my God, that was absolute proof of that. Did you see that turnout? That puppet for the 13 families lowered all of that people to Washington. For what? An election? You haven't had a legit election fucking in neons. Forever and ever and ever. Eons. First off, you don't pick your candidates, they're picked for you. Because after all, you couldn't pick your own candidate. No, they need to be picked for you. Well, of course they do. Just like becoming a cop. You have to be bully mentality, and you have to not recognize right from wrong, common sense, human rights, and you have to be a great order follower. If you be a great order follower, and you'll have a bully mentality, you could be a deputy sheriff, a highway patrolman, or a police officer worldwide. But if you have care and you recognize right from wrong, and you're not an order follower and won't do wrong, you're not allowed to be a cop. Well, that's the same thing with your congressmen and your senators and your president and your speaker of the house and, your Hollywood show. It's pathetic. So, yeah, I wanted to get up here for a few minutes and I wanted to rant a little bit about this. Because the reality is, this is where we're at. And believe me, I'm not trying to put people down like when I talked about that little brief about hell by the dashboard. But I'm not the one that told him to say that stuff. And by saying that type of stuff, you're completely out of your mind. You haven't looked into nothing. You've drunk the Kool-Aid, you're falling for the lies, and you're parroting the lies. And that's what I see everywhere, man. People who drink the Kool-Aid, fall for the lies, they've been lied to their whole life, and parrot the lies. And then I watch Nazis. You go into the store, you don't got a diaper on your face, and you got some Nazi with a diaper on their face doing what the Nazis did. That's how the Nazis got their name. Because they were following the orders with no critical thinking skills, with absolutely no care. That's right, for the tool. Because the monetary system, your money, the tool, is owned and controlled by bankers. That's your 13 families. And they have all of the monetary systems globally in their pockets. And they're all working together for the same goal. They work together better than the manosphere does. So, of course, they're getting further because they're smart enough to work together. Unlike the people in the manosphere, who are throwing each other under the bus and following the social engineering that's been deliberately given to them so that you can divide and conquer. And so that you can divide up the family and break up the genders and split up the genders so we can control the population. You just keep following what today's dating scene advice is. And you can continue to live TFL happily. But right now, it's not time to worry about your living TFL. Because you can never get out of it if we don't change our own selves. We have to have critical thinking skills. You have to be able to examine what's going on with you and you need each other. You may not believe you need each other, but yes, you do. Because we, the people of this world, are the ones with the power. But that power is only good if we stand together. And if you don't want to believe that, then you enjoy the fall of America and you enjoy about what's about to come down the pipes for you. You don't got years. There's no more. Well, we still got 30 years. BS. You have months, not years. Within months, not years, you're going to witness the fall of this country, the collapse of the U.S. dollar, gone all digital worldwide, and you're going to witness lots and lots and lots and lots of deaths. That's where you're going. That's exactly where you're going. Get ready to be out of food. It's coming. It sure is. Get ready for lockdowns. Get ready for your grocery stores to run out of food. That's right. Get ready for power outages. Hey, it's all wrote in United Nations Agenda 21. They've been telling people about this for years. They actually put the documentation in your face. And everything they've wrote has been playing out and playing out and playing out. And because Agenda 21 is such a big, drawn out plan, of course it can't be done in a couple of years. But, just like in Nazi Germany, 7 years from the time they started it, okay, you was involved in major stuff happened in that 7 years. Sure did. Lots of people died. Land got stolen, resources got stolen. And they all went to the same families. Everything did. Most of you probably don't even know that Washington, D.C. is in the state of Maryland, and that's the District of Columbia. It's not even part of the United States. Most of you probably don't even know that. But that's fact. Sits right there in the District of Columbia, which is not part of the United States. That's where your capital's at. And it's never been part of the United States. But most people ain't smart enough to figure that out neither. You know, I've been watching this stuff for so many years. And I've been studying this and I've been observing what's going on around me. And I'm to a point, like I told you anymore, I don't have to do much looking. I see through this shit. I really do. That's because I understand what they're doing. I understand how they got there, how we got in the shape we're in, and why this stuff is going to happen to you. I also know how to beat them. But I can't beat them. You know why? Because nobody else will do what I'm telling them. Because they'd rather fight each other. They'd rather stay divided. That's right. You'd rather fight each other over materialistic items. You'd rather stay divided. You have no want to stand together for the same cause. Your life, your freedom, your right to be left alone. And people don't even want to work together anymore now. And if we can't work together, then I guess you couldn't make it through life anyhow, because you gotta have some other human being to put their pants on the same way as you did, to hold your hand. Yeah. I don't know why you think you need them to hold your hand, but you seem to think that you need them to hold your hand. Okay, and I just can't go there no more with people because I look at it for what it really is, okay? And the real thing is this. I don't like to see anybody, I don't like to see the dating scene the way it is, but until men and women could learn to treat each other the way they want to be treated themselves, And people would understand that if a man and woman gets together, it's supposed to be because they took the time to get to know each other and they had things compatible and they were able to hang out together and they had good communication. They trusted each other. They didn't lie and they didn't play a game on each other. They were honest with each other. We don't have that no more, do you? No, you got to play the game, right? That's right, because after all, it's all about procreating, right? It's all about spreading your seed. Spreading your seed. Division. Keeps the men and women separated. Breaks down the family unit. Just like they wanted. What do you think we don't stand together? They divided us all up. They broke us all up. You all been competing against each other for how long now? Everything's a competition. Everything's a sport and arena to you. Y'all think it's a sport and arena. So you'll be useful idiots. You will follow your orders until you fall over the cliff and you'll, what the heck? Too late now, sorry. And that's what's going to happen to America. It's going to fall over the cliff. It's going to be gone for eternity. You're not going to be able to turn this around because you're all going to wait till the last second. You're going to lose the right to own anything. They're going to take the weapons away from you so you won't have your Second Amendment no more. You won't have your First Amendment, Second Amendment, Third Amendment. Constitution's gone forever, dead forever, gone, getting done, over with. That's where we're at. Yes, family unit has been dead for years. That's correct. For decades, for many years. That is actually a correct answer right there, man. That is correct. And it will always be dead until you pull your head out of you know what. But it's too late to pull your head out of you know what because right now is not the time to be worried about the dating scene. You better be worried about what's going on around you in the society. You better stop complying with this lie. You better stop putting a diaper on your face. And you better do it in masses. You best not comply. And if you're in the military, you best not comply, but they'll court martial me. But if 90% of your military outside of your bigwigs at the top stand down, they can't court martial or prosecute all of you. You know why? They won't have a military. Well, but then they won't prevent a draft, and then you won't comply. When you don't comply in masses of numbers, they can't do nothing. You take your power back instead of giving it away. That is the only way you're going to stop this. Anything short of that, you lose. You've lost. And that's where we're at, okay? So now I've had my little rant. I've been up here just a little over an hour. I'm probably going to get out of here. But I just wanted to come up here and rant a little bit. And I wanted to tell you some real truth. And if you got a brain lick one left in your head, you need to understand what I'm saying. You need to try to get to other people to understand it. And people need to start standing together. You got to stop this childish 5-year-old behavior and stop fighting one another. And stop arguing over something you never looked into. I mean, you know, I love it when people got an opinion, that's one thing. But when you think you know something because you haven't looked into it, you don't know nothing. And you really don't have a right to an opinion or a debate. You got a right to an opinion, but you don't have a right to a debate. You cannot debate something you've never looked into. If you haven't looked into it, you can't debate it. And if you think you can debate it, okay, without looking into it, then I want you to go ahead and have a debate with the guy that built homes for 40 years for a living. I want you to have a debate with the auto mechanic that's been doing it for tons of years and went to school and knows what they're talking about and what they're doing. You just get on down there, clown, and you debate why that you know more than what they know about something you never even looked into or studied. That way you can look like the clown you're being. If you ain't got time to look into it, you ain't got time to stand together, you will have time to die. You will have time to find your shelves empty in the stores, And you will have lots more time to be locked down in place to be taken out. Because when they get ready to move military in and you're locked down in your house, get ready, guys. Shit's going to get real nasty this year. Watch and see. And with that,